we're done teasing. Let's dive into the depth chart. Transfer window is closed. We got who we got. So let's start from the back. We'll work our way forward. Some of these are going to be pretty straightforward, but I think there's going to be some conversation in a few different positions here. So goalkeeper, I'll kick things off. Ter Stegen, Peña, Astrolaga. Do either of you have any arguments against that one?
Everyone's so against Ter Stegen, but let's be real, Barcelona's financial situation, people want like another goalkeeper. How would Barcelona be able to get the other positions they want on top of another goalkeeper? And aside from that, I will agree that Ter Stegen could definitely be a little bit, inconsistent at times, but he saved us countless of times as well. And he's really good on the ball, and you won't really find goalkeepers like that. So I'm backing him.
Yeah, amen to that. Been at the club for over a decade now?
Yeah, 10
right?
years.
Yeah.
10 years. So, listen, he's a staple back there. He's trusted. Every goalkeeper is going to make mistakes. Even if you brought in a big name talent, you never know when the occasion, the club, the atmosphere gets to them. It could happen to anybody. So I'm with Ter Stegen as well. Jumping over to another pretty easy one, right back, Koundé. Pablo was here saying potentially best right back in the world right now. Tough to argue against. I mean, yes, you have some more attacking wingback type or style players, but for me, Koundé's it, and Hector Fort's not a bad backup. Any arguments there?
I'm interested to
Buga,
see how.
I was going to say, Buga, I see your wheels turning there.
I find it a bit interesting to see how Flick actually, what he does at right back if Koundé gets injured or whatnot. Like, hopefully it doesn't happen. It seems like it not, because Koundé takes good care of himself, but like, he wasn't too keen on Fort. At the end of the day, we saw Julian Araujo. We never got João Cancelo. What is he going to do if someone gets injured there? Like, we've heard rumors. Casado has played right back in Barca Athletic before. I'm not too sure if, that actually would make him like the Kimmich, the actual Kimmich replacement. But I'm interested to see what he does there. Because, I think that if Hector Fort, I really am into him. But let's see if Flick is, right?
Yeah. Okay. Center backs then. For me, somebody else start this one actually.
So we're just doing center backs in general, not who's like a right side and not who's on the left. Just general? Yeah. Okay. So there's so many injuries, but right now all we have is literally Cubarsí and Íñigo Martínez, and then Koundé, who could drop into that center back position, but you rather him play as a right back. So I feel like right now, I think Íñigo Martínez, his last 2 games, he was pretty solid. Like, I feel like it's his pace that he's a little slow, but he's solid defensively, good aggressiveness, good on the ball. I think he's pretty underrated, if you ask me. And then Cubarsí at 17 years old, it's not normal to see a 17-year-old center back, especially starting for a club like Barcelona. So I think that speaks enough for itself.
With everybody healthy, who's your top 2, Lia? Who are you starting?
Araujo, Cubarsí.
Yeah.
I feel like Araujo had one bad season, but he also had so many good moments last season as well. He's passionate about the club, and he puts his body on the line. He makes those forward runs that Hansi Flick will really like, and good aggressiveness, physicality in general.
I'm with you on all of that. Here's my little seed of doubt. I'm wondering how much Hansi Flick is liking the passing ability of Cubarsí, of Íñigo, of a Christensen when he's healthy too. And yes to everything about Araujo and his positives. I wonder if his passing ability is going to be up to what Flick wants, and if that will be the priority. It may not be.
I think you could go.
I was going to say, at the end of the day, for games like this, sure, Cubarsí, Íñigo, fine, because you have freaking Marcos Leonardo, I think it was his name, running at our center backs. But once you play in the Champions League, those sort of levels, I think that Araujo is up there with Van Dijk as the best one-on-one defenders out there in the world. And generally, the pace, the sort of things, you need to watch out for that. And we know, I just go back to that moment, one-on-one, Íñigo Martínez to Victor Osimhen. Victor Osimhen just destroyed Íñigo Martínez.
I wouldn't be going Íñigo. My argument would be, if not Araujo, Christensen. Have the Cubarsí Christensen combo. But Leo, you got thoughts?
I mean, I will say Araujo and Christensen, as much as I love them both, are very injury prone. So it doesn't hurt to have some kind of rotations. And I feel like that's the benefit, like when everyone's healthy, that Flick will be able to like rotate his center backs while having trust in hopefully all of them.
Yeah. And not only that, people forget that in come springtime, ideally, right, you have La Liga, you have Copa del Rey, and you have Champions League all going on. So all of these players will get some playing time. Where do you all stick Eric? Are we looping him in with the center backs? I know he's getting a look at the pivot role right now. I don't know how well that's gonna go long term, but where are you all sticking Eric?
I said like back in, I forgot what it was, like 2022, I made a video talking about how I think Eric Garcia would fit into that CDM role because he's good on the ball. I just feel like as a defender, sometimes he lacks some of that aggressiveness you need a little bit. And I feel like in that CDM role, he's done a decent job. And it also, I feel like, gives him freedom to like move more upward and like score goals as well. So I don't know. I feel like we have to test it out against other like bigger teams and see if it works. But I feel like for now, it's a solution to Barcelona's defensive midfield situation.
Yeah, I think it's just like a stopgap. If I want to recall correctly, like at Girona he played right center back, and maybe sometimes he played right back. I think that the thing with Eric Garcia is that when you have a system that can cover for him, great stuff. And I think that we actually do have that at the moment. Particularly, we also think about the games when Eric Garcia is going to slot in. It's not going to be like we were talking those big header games. No, he's going to be playing against a Real Valladolid. He's going to be playing maybe even against like a Sevilla. Who knows? Determines on the rotation and the teams that we have. So for that, I think it's perfect. And we don't need to look further than that. In my opinion, like I think it's okay to have him there because at the end of the day, like Lia says, Araujo is injury prone. Christensen is injury prone. Koundé is literally now right back, so he's probably never going to come back to center back in a while. And yeah, so my question then would be as well, like you were saying, is it Cuarsi, is it Araujo, maybe Christensen? I feel bad for Christensen because he's like actually such a good center back and fits perfectly.
Somebody's going to lose out. Yeah.
Someone is going to lose out. And I think at the end of the day, it's going to be him.
He's so underrated, though. You know, the good thing about him, though, is that he could also play in that CDM role. So I think either ways he's going to be used. It's just good for him to be able to be, like, rotated because he's had Achilles issues last season, and this season he actually has an injury with the Achilles. So I think it's best to not play him every game or not play him 90 minutes every game because of that.
Yeah.
Okay. Left back, Balde, Gerard Martin. I think there was a little bit of a shout that Gerard Martin might be sneaking his way into that left back spot, but Balde now fully fit, getting his match fitness back. I don't know if there's any questions there. What about you guys?
He has the pace. Yeah, like Balde has the pace. Like he, the way he contributes to the attack is very important. I don't think Gerard Martin is bad. I think defensively he's pretty good. I think he just needs time. Like Balde obviously has had more time on the first team, but he doesn't really offer, like Gerard Martin doesn't really offer much to the attack. And I feel like when it comes to that left-hand side, it's really dull when Balde isn't there. Like you said earlier on, with Rafinha dropping in more centrally, Balde takes full control of that left-hand side, and that doesn't happen with Gerard Martin.
Yeah, Gerard Martin is a different profile. That's the thing. It's not a like-for-like replacement. He's a way more defensive-minded left back. He's much taller. He's much bulkier. He's a different sort of player. So for a game like Rayo, for instance, where we need to rotate, sure, he can do a job. But still, I didn't think he had the most incredible game. Like he didn't blew me out of the water in the game at Vallecas. So I'm not too sure. I think that will be a position where I actually do think Barcelona needs some sort of maybe reinforcement looking forward. But for the time that we've got, I think that if Balde can stay fit, he's the number one player. But I'm a little bit worried because that is one position where right now we don't have a single player that can, be there and play that. Like, I'm just worried. What happens if Balde gets injured for like 4 months and we have to play like Bayern Munich at home? Who goes left back? Like, are we actually going to put Gerard Martin there? Like, I think that's a big call. That's a very, very bold call. And I said to Pablo last spot, maybe you heard, but I was saying like, dude, like I would have kept Serginho Dest.
I did hear that. It made me so happy.
I will say Hector Ford could play on that left-hand side. If you really wanted to. Like, he has learned how to play on the left-hand side, so I wouldn't mind him playing there, but it does seem like Hansi Flick does trust Gerard Martin more. And I'm going to listen to Flick because, like, look at where we are now. Like, whatever he wants, he gets. That's just the way I feel.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah. Flick has won my trust. But yeah, I really enjoyed that shout out for Serginho Dest. Man, it is what it is.
Dude, he's
another long-term injury, but
Dest is a far better left back than he's a right back, and we all agree on that, right?
If Dest could find his way into a left or right wing back position, maybe somewhere where they're playing with 3 center backs and he doesn't have as much defensive responsibility, but he's not playing a full winger position like Xavi tried to experiment with him during some injury-prone times, I think Dest will thrive. And also, he's in the right spot right now, playing at PSV for in the Eredivisie. Like that's where he should be. I think he'll shine there. But anyway, let your Serginho Dest hate out in the comments. I know you're screaming at your screens right now.
Did you see that? I always get freaking viral because of saying crazy things like that. So I'm gonna get clipped for that. And I had a tweet saying like, "Dude, we should put a cheeky loan bid for like Kessie."
No way. Won't happen. Okay, so that takes care of defense. Give me your starting 3 midfielders, because I think Flick's gonna go with a different, like let me say this. Before the season started, everybody was saying he's gonna play a 4-2-3-1. And I think we did see that in the preseason, but now we're back to a 4-3-3, but it's very fluid, very dynamic. So give me your preferred 3 midfielders if everybody's healthy.
This is so hard because, like, I'm trying to think of, like, the double pivot, but honestly, at this point, like, I don't even know. I feel like the way Daniel Mo's playing, he is a midfielder right now. He has to start. Pedri, right now, the way he's playing, he has to start. If Bernal was fit, I mean, he's 17 years old. Regardless, I wouldn't want to see him playing every game because, like, we saw what happened to Pedri. But I would say he'd probably be the starting, like, pivot. Like, I don't know, but then you have, like, Gavi. And then it gets like really difficult because Gavi you need for his aggressiveness and the intensity, and for me he's the heart and soul of that team, like regardless with like everything.
Yeah. I know.
For me it's difficult in the sense that I think Dani Olmo he's like literally made for that position as a number 10. Pedri, he's just insane. I've said it plenty of times. Every ball he touches is incredible. Like this kid can not train for ages and he still be good. Then we have, I think Gavi is the like Lia, the heart and soul of this team. He literally, for a moment, he was the face of Barcelona. I said that, remember? I said he literally, you think of Barcelona, you think of Gavi. I just wonder where does Frankie de Jong fits in all this? That's for me the question, because there you have an outstanding player that actually does fit Flick's team system or whatnot, but it's like, can you just really go against, Gavi, the sort of hierarchy? I think La Masia in a way does give you a little bit of hierarchy and more importance in a club like this. But for me, it's I just want to see Frankie there. For me, I would put Frankie, Pedri, and Dani Olmo. For me, Frankie de Jong is just. I think he's really good, and he just keeps the play ticking, and he's never gonna be that midfielder, that's gonna surprise everybody. But I think that you just need someone like him at the end of the day, and he will keep the play circulating so much. He's gonna do that ball progression that we know he can do. I think he just fits him very nicely. Yeah, I'm not too sure actually how we're gonna fit them all.
I think he's overhated. I feel like people hate on Frankie because of his wages, not forgetting about the fact that he literally deferred his wages for 2 seasons. That's why his wages are so high. He doesn't need to defer them again. He's already given Barcelona the favor of deferring them once. And aside from that, 22-23 season, Barcelona's best midfielder. 23-24, he started off that season strong. It was him and Gavi, both the best midfielders for Barcelona. And then once they got injured, that opened the door for Gundogan to come in and like perform better and gave him more freedom. But like Frankie's not bad. It's just right now, like when everyone's fit, like where would he play? That's just the thing.
That's what I'm curious about. Like, if we had a purely defensive midfielder, just a stopgap, I would say that frees up Frankie it'll be whoever that defensive midfielder is, Frankie and somebody else. But I just don't know. It's either going to be that when Frankie comes into this team, we're going to see the very best of Frankie, or we're going to see the very worst of Frankie. I really honestly don't know, because I don't know where Hansi Flick's priorities are going to be. Who is he really going to build the formation around, right? And some of it might come down to who our opponent is. Maybe we do see more of a 4-2-3-1 once Frankie's there, because that gives us the possibility for that double pivot. So maybe it's a Frankie, a Gavi, and I don't know. I can't imagine Pedri and Olmo splitting time as the third midfielder. That's the thing. It's hard to imagine Frankie, Gavi, Pedri, Olmo, any one of those four not getting significant playing time.
Yeah, I think though that's a problem that we can leave it, under the bed sheet for a while, because I find it. Don't you find it very strange, like the whole situation around Frankie De Jong and his injury? Like, I don't know what's gonna happen with him. Whether he's gonna have surgery, he doesn't want surgery. Why is he not coming back? The club wants him to play with his comfort. He says he doesn't, and at the end of the day, he on his legs were not. But it's like, I don't know. I find it extremely, extremely weird, and I'm sure that maybe there's some sort of like something has to do there, and I think that he's not coming for a while. I still wouldn't.
Yeah.
I feel like Gabi, Frankie will coming back like sort of the same time, so I wouldn't worry that much about it right now.
To be fair, Frankie injured that ankle 3 times one season, and the last time it was during El Clasico. We all saw the photo, I'm pretty sure, of like how his ankle twisted with Valverde, and it was not Valverde's fault. It happens. You both go for the ball. Situations like that happen. It's a sport. Contact happens all the time. But it's like, I would understand if that becomes a chronic injury and it becomes more sensitive there, because I feel like, yes, we talk about ACL injuries and this and that, but when it comes to like your ankle, like that could be swollen for like 2 years. There's people that said their ankle was swollen for 5 years and there was not much that they could do about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I do hope it is sooner rather than later that we have the problem of too many healthy midfielders playing well. And, we could go with any one of the combinations that sound good. So I'm excited for that. I think if we are playing in the Champions League final tomorrow and everybody's fit, I'm going Frankie, Pedri, Olmo.
Fair.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
I think we're forgetting like the fact that how old is Gabi? Like 19?
20.
Yeah, he's so 20. Young.
Pedri is like 21. Like, dude, there's plenty of time and football for you to like I don't like Frank is gonna be retired and you're still gonna have like 8 years more of career. Like,
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy because I just realized this is like Pedri's 5th year and he's only 21, and like now our veteran players are literally still youngsters. So it's like our whole team, I think our average age is somewhere like 23 years old, which is just crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, and in a couple of seasons when Lewandowski moves on, that's going to drop even. He's literally twice as old as some of our players. It's incredible. You know who we didn't even talk about in the midfield? Fermin Lopez.
Oh, yeah.
My guy.
My guy. People have been screaming at us saying, you're forgetting Fermin, you're forgetting Fermin. Fermin Lopez. Go ahead.
With Fermin, it's because he could also play as a winger as well. So like there's so many places that you could play him. And I feel like because he played so much and he was training nonstop since last summer, being with Barcelona, then being called up for Spain. And even if he didn't play that much in the Euros, you still have those training sessions that take a lot of stress on your body. So I feel like having like the situation Barcelona have right now is nice because you get to rotate him, you don't overwork him, and him coming on as a substitute to provide more energy that Barcelona start to lose like towards the end of a game. I think it's perfect for the team.
I think Fermin Lopez fits very nicely to be that 12th, 13th man on the list like of players, because I don't think he's so defensively sound to be, one of the 2 interiors behind, the line of 3. I don't think he's that sort of player. We've seen him play that at the moment because we literally have no bodies. But he for me is what Coutinho was always meant to be. At least he's not as good of a dribbler. But for me, it's like you take a look at Fermin Lopez. He can play, like Lia was saying, at sort of left attacking midfielder role. Then he can play through the middle. He's just for me perfect. And like I say again, he's 21 years of age. He's 20 years old. Like, dude, there's plenty of like. If I'm Fermin Lopez, I wouldn't worry that much. Like, you just won the gold medal with Spain. Like, you're just gonna be coming in matches. You're always gonna be there. You're a squad player. People love you. Like, it's fine, dude. It's fine. Like, he might not be the starter. We were a little bit worried about it. I think that at the end of the day, Dani Olmo does. You can see those 5 years of extra experience in him that does work. You know, that speaks a lot of him. But then Fermin Lopez, like, I have no problem bringing him in. Like, I know he's gonna have plenty of big moments. Last goal, like goals that he's gonna score in last minutes. He's that sort of guy, and he's so smart with his positioning, everything. Like, he's just such a talented footballer, and he's sort of like passionate without being reckless. And I think that's a very big part of his game. So Fermin Lopez is just incredible. I think he had his work cut out for him in the sense that he's so unique to everything else that we have that he doesn't compete directly with anybody else. He only competes with Dani Olmo in that sense. But he's just so different to everybody else that he's like a wild card, and we can just use him whenever we want.
Yeah. Does Pablo Torre have any role to play in this? I know we just keep bringing midfielders out of the woodwork here.
We just forgot about everybody. Pablo Torre, anytime I've seen him play with Barcelona, he's not had a good game. He's always had a good game. Sorry. I keep saying I like messed up right there. He's always had a good game. Sorry, guys. But I feel like Pablo Torre, like, the thing with him is that I feel like because he doesn't get that many minutes, like, it's the consistency sometimes, I guess, and like the other players have more experience compared to him. But again, like, it's not bad when you need rotations and you have Dani Olmo and Pedri that are also injury prone and you need to put somebody in that place.
Yeah. And again, back to the number of matches we're going to have. I could see Pablo Torre being a starter for Copa del Rey. I do hope Hansi Flick goes back to what Barcelona used to do when we had the depth and had the options of essentially you had a Copa del Rey squad that was, you know, a combination of your role players and a couple of starters that would kind of rotate in and out there. So I think that's where we'll see a Pablo Torre. But also, if we keep scoring goals like this, it creates a tremendous opportunity to do a 60-30. Starters get 60 minutes, guys off the bench get 30 minutes, and you can keep rotating a little bit. That'll keep people happy. That'll keep people fit and rested. I'm hoping we see more of that, but it does rely on us scoring goals. Speaking of scoring goals, get to the attack then. I think based off of our earlier conversation, I think we're all happy with Lamine, Lewandowski, Rafinha as the front three.
Yeah.
No complaints there.
Yeah. Honestly, that all of a sudden, that is world-class front three. Deadly.
Yeah, but we also have to be careful because Lamine is 17 years old. So then... like, Rafinha could play on the right, and then you could put Fermin on the left, or Dani Olmo on the left. It works. We have some kind of midfield solution to the midfield problem that we currently have.
He's so good. Like, I know, but it's like, how can you, dude? If I'm Hansi Flick, that really gives me a headache. Like, he is the most creative, most deadly, most like, I think that he's the best player Barcelona has, and he's 17 years of age.
His composure is unreal. The way who did he assist at the end there, where on the counterattack he just
Rafinha
just casually dribbled everybody up the pitch. It didn't even look like he was breaking a sweat. He's just gliding, striding, and oh my goodness, he makes it look too easy.
His balance is so good. Like, his balance, I know I don't want to make these comparisons, but like the way he dribbles does kind of remind me of like Neymar and Messi. Yeah. And it makes sense because he grew up watching them play, so like a lot of the youngsters model their style of play like to those players. But again, this is not a comparison before people come at me. It's just the way he dribbles, it's like similar. I see the similarities there.
Yeah. And 100%. He's come out and said it, and you can see it in his play, you can see it in his celebrations. How much he admires and is modeling Neymar and Messi. Very much so. Where does Ferran Torres fall in for you? He's coming off the bench, but where do you place him? Is he a left wing backup? Is he a number 9 backup? What do you got, Leah?
This is where our friendship can can be born or can be never.
Speak from the heart, Lia. Don't you just ignore him.
I think he's overhated. I'm out here and I'm gonna say it. I feel like yes, Ferran, out of like other options, yes, like he's on the bench. Like, sorry, love him, but like that's just the way things are. The sport is brutal. But like, again, good for rotations. I feel like he has the right mentality. After the game the other day, he literally went home and was training like right after. That's the mentality you want like from your players. And I feel like people forget that last season, before he got injured, I believe it was like in February, he was one of the more consistent attackers that Barcelona had. So I just think it's about getting consistent minutes for him. And the last few games he played, he wasn't bad. It's just he wasn't like out of this world crazy compared to like the other games that he had last season. And then I guess the only really bad game he had was the first game back, but you always expect the rustiness from the players in that first game.
Go ahead, Buga. Let your heart sing.
No, like I think first of all, thank you, Lia. Like you're now officially a friend of the pod. No, but the thing is that, dude, Ferran Torres, like I said, I think that the attitude, everything, all those things add up. And at the end of the day, a manager's very much going to appreciate that. If I'm a manager and I see that on my player, I'd want him in my team, you know? He's not the best at anything. Like, he's not the fastest. He's not the best dribbler. He's not the best finisher. He's not the best passer. Like, but he's someone that at the end of the day, I think at the end of the day, you need that sort of player in your team. And he's just like, he will feed in a role. He will take command of that position. He's just gonna try his best, and that's at the end of the day what you need. And I think that's good enough for me. Like, he doesn't need to be a starter. He won't be the guy who competes with the very best. We already have players like Lamine, someone like that can do that job. But for me, Ferran Torres can be that sort of, again, like I said, that 13th, 40th man in the list, like that just player that comes out. And I think that should be his role. I think you see a lot of very good impact players in football, and I think that is what can Ferran Torres be. Like, I genuinely think Ferran Torres can be a very good sub off the bench. There was a moment last season where he scored 3 goals and then stopped one game and then scored another goal, so almost 5 games consecutively scoring off the bench. That is the sort of Ferran Torres I want to see. Like, I take a look at teams out there. I will always, for me, the best super sub ever in the world was Chicharito at Manchester United. That guy, I see Ángel Correa at Atletico Madrid. You know, a player who's never going to be your main striker. He's never going to be your guy, but is that sort of player that can score in those last few minutes. And that's where I think Ferran Torres can be for this team. Like, I don't need him to be better than Lewandowski. I don't need him to be better than Rafinha or Lamine Yamal. I just need him to be like, I just want him to fill those boots whenever we need them. And it's not going to be often, but sometimes we will need him. And that's when I want him to appear.
I think it says a lot that a lot of his teammates also really do like him.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you need in the dressing room. Like, I feel like a lot of Barca fans, I'm sorry, Twitter is so toxic and they like to hate on everybody, but they don't know what's going on inside that locker room. And if the players, like, if they all like appreciate Ferran, if they all, you know, are happy with Ferran, then I feel like that's the best thing that could happen to that dressing room.
Yeah. Yep. I'm with you on that. I do think, for me, Buga, you said he's not like the best at anything, but he's solid with all of those. I think Ferran gets in a bad position when he's asked to be the creator, when he's asked to be the one that is, making those opportunities happen. So I think that he will thrive being Lewandowski's substitute, being that fill-in the number 9, and having Lamine, having Rafinha, eventually having Ansu out on that left wing, which That's is true. where I would put him. I know some people are putting Ansu as the second number 9, but I still say Ansu is a left winger.
Ansu left wing, 100%.
Yes,
Ansu left wing. I think we're going to be happy with where Ansu Fati is by the end of this season. I don't think he's ever going to get back to the hype that he was, which is now he has handed that torch over to Lamine. But I think we will be happy with where Ansu Fati is by the end of this season.
I want a redemption arc for Ansu. And let's remember, 22-23 season, mainly as a substitute, not sharp whatsoever, because, like, you don't get minutes, you're inconsistent, that's just the way it is, but still managed to be the joint second top goal scorer for Barcelona, which goes to show that, like, last season, what Barcelona really needed is, like, Ansu Fati's, like, finishing and, like, the precision he had and the positioning he had. People love to sometimes hate on him and say whatever, but, like, Ansu, like, in terms of goal scoring, like, he can make it happen if you really need it to happen.
Yeah, it's sort of like the best way I can describe it is like Ansu Fati walked so that Lamine Yamal could run, in the sense that it actually taught us in the way that he was the first out of all the players that came by. You know, like he came before Pedri, he came before Gavi, he came before Fermin Lopez, he came before Lamine Yamal, he came before Kubarsi. He's the sort of mold that we needed to unfortunately sort of mistreat to learn how to be better as a club and to be a more respectful fan base. And that for me, Ansu Fati, at the end of the day, he's paying the price, and now it's time for us to give him that time and repay him for what he taught us in a sense. So that for me is hopefully Ansu Fati. I think his left wing, like Lia said, he's absolutely up there with the best finishers in this team. I think even someone like a Ferran Torres is a very good finisher. The thing is that it's just where these players need to understand the role, and I think that the role is there to be part of the squad. And if we don't need him, like I said, we don't need them to be the next Neymar, the next Lewandowski. We just need them to be themselves and be good enough. And I think that's what we're gonna see, hopefully.
Yeah, love it. Okay, that's our depth chart.
Can I just mention super sub Ferran Torres, 10 minutes, goal and assist. It's like it's insane, dude. Like, just play him as a super sub.